This is a video to show the figure 8 join. The figure 8 join is the join that we're looking to see in the Master Hand Knitting Program Level 2 for all of the seaming swatches. There is a huge problem with this join. Many people think they're doing it correctly. They write the directions to do it correctly, and yet they do it incorrectly on their swatches. I think as knitters, a lot of times we expect the directions to say something, and even though they say something different, we think that they are saying what we want them to say or what we think they should say. And that may be where people are going wrong. The figure 8 join, it's actually quite easy, but you have to do it correctly, and it will give you a nice smooth join of two pieces. Now obviously these are not the two pieces that would be seamed together. This is actually two pieces of a different swatch, but it's good enough that I can show you how to do the figure 8 join. The figure 8 join, the 3 steps are: you come in from back to front on one piece, then you draw the yarn through and you do the same thing on the next piece. You come in from back to front, and then the third step is you come back to your original piece and come in from back to front. The most important part of the third step is that you come in the exact same place that you came in the first time. Now I'll show you a couple of things that people do, and I guess they think they're doing things the right way. They'll come in from back to front on the first piece, just fine. Then they'll write in their directions, come in from back to front on the second piece, but then they'll go ahead and do this. And they're not coming from back to front, but front to back. And if I come back around through the original insertion point, I'm going to make a circle. And that's not the correct way to join these two pieces. The next mistake is people come in from back to front, and they come in from back to front. They actually get the first two steps right. The next thing is they think they're coming in back to front, but what they actually do is they come in and get the first seaming bar. You see that? Rather than doing this, they come in, they get the first seaming bar. Some people come in and get the first seaming bar. They do that, or they do that, where they just come in there. Now, if I do either one of these, if I catch that first seaming bar, I do not get a figure 8. I get a loop. Now, you may think that, oh well, what difference would that make? I'm going to get the first bar over here, and then I'm going to go over here and get the first bar. So the first bar and the first bar will be lined up. But that's not what's going to happen, because when I come back over here and I get that first seaming bar, when I pull these two swatches together, I have essentially seamed the cast on of this piece together with the first row of this piece, instead of seaming the cast on from this piece to the cast on from that piece. So now let me show you the correct way to do this. So the figure 8 join correctly worked. Now there's some questions. Sometimes, do you go in above the cast on edge? Some references will tell you to do that. Or do you go in through the cast on edge? And it really doesn't matter. But if you go in above the cast on edge on one piece, go in above the cast on edge on the other piece. If you go in through the cast on one piece, go in through the cast on the other piece. In other words, don't mix and mingle. Do you have to start on one side or the other? And the answer is no. You can start on either side. So I'm going to come in through the cast on. You can see I've got the bumpy sides of my cast on for these two swatches for no particular reason, except that I chose to do it this time. So I'm going to come in through the cast on one piece, and I'm going to do it on this piece as well. But I could very well have gone in above the cast on. Doesn't really matter. Now I'm going to come back and go through the cast on edge again in the very same spot. I'm not catching any seaming bars. I'm just coming back through. And look at that. I've got an 8. A nice, can you see that? Figure 8. So now I'm on the left piece. I'm ready to catch the first bar of the right piece. And there it is. So I'll get that. And I'll get it on this side. And then, of course, the rest of it is seaming and stockinette, which I'm not going to cover here. That's a whole nother thing into itself. But when I pull it tight, you can see I have a nice straight edge here. When I go to weave that in, you won't see my seaming tail at all. And I don't have to pull it super tight. My swatches line up. A lot of times people get it wrong, and then they'll just pull this so tight that everything lines up. And you can see if I had done it wrong and really pulled and tried to fudge it by weaving the tail in and getting it right, it doesn't look as nice as if I just let it sit naturally and I continue seaming, and I'm going to have nice columns of stitches, and it's going to look like my cast on just continues across the seam as well. So hopefully that'll help.